say they're freedom-loving in here? Who's freedom-loving and independent?
Yes.
Oh, that's a lot of you. Okay. Thinking about it. Some of the Librans are thinking about it. They're not sure. Okay. Who would say that they're can be quite possessive and maybe get a bit clingy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Some of you honest folks at the back there. Okay. Who's extravagant? Who is really, yeah, okay. So imagine you extravagant guys. Yeah, okay, maybe a later one. And who's really cautious with money and careful?
Oh, my money, not
yours. Taurus moon. Okay, so again, this is all shown in the astrology. The extravagant ones. So imagine you're with somebody who's got a pile of Sagittarius. Who are my extravagant ones? Moon in Sag over there. Sag Sun. I'm not sure what you've got in Sagittarius. Yeah, your Sag Moon, your Sag Sun. You've got your Aquarius Moon and your Leo. So all the fire. Very often the fire signs are quite extravagant. Fire, air. There's an extravagance. Particularly if we have a strong Jupiter as well. It's easy come, easy go. Jupiter in the second house of money. Well, we'll spend it, but I've got faith there'll be more coming. All right? Saturn in the second house. Oh, I've got to be careful. Oh, no, don't spend that. Oh, I've got to save it. We've got to be very careful. We might run out. We might run out, mightn't we? So you've got to look at the different vibrations. Capricorn is very careful with money. Yes, our Capricorn man here, but our Capricorn lady is really
for business,
not.
Yes.
See, for business.
Definitely not.
Okay, well they can be very different.
But they're one and the same at the moment, so
yeah, right. Well, that's a bit of a challenge. Taurus over there. Caroline, you're pretty catty with money.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yes. So. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all like Libra, Jenny. Yeah. And your Taurus moon, you've got to know where it is. Your Taurus, well, yeah. Pretty
It's a bit like you said, it's like I can spend it because there'll be more coming.
Yeah, there'll be the faith that's coming, and that's usually a strong Jupiter. Jupiter is about your faith, and if you have Jupiter in the house of money, you very often can spend it very easily, but usually there's more coming. So very often you don't learn important lessons to do with money until you've really overextended yourself. For example, a transit very often that comes around 28 to 29 degrees in Taurus is the bankruptcy degree, all right? So this can actually trigger bankruptcy in a person if they've not been careful. If you've been frugal and you've taken care of business, this can mean huge wealth coming to you if you've earned it. But there again, this aspect coming over can actually also mean bankruptcy. 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn. Very often the earth signs are very much to do with wealth and money. 28, 29 Capricorn. This is usually somebody who's...
Sorry, what is 28, 29 degrees?
Good question. Sorry, I'm going far, aren't I? You know when somebody says to you, I'm on the cusp, I'm between two signs. Very often like, oh, I'm born on the 21st of July. That's pretty cuspal, isn't it, Wendy? Yeah? You're between the Cancer and Leo. Exactly. So, within each sign, Caroline, when you look at a birth chart, a circle has 360 degrees. And we've got 12 signs of the zodiac, and in an ideal world, they're split into 30 degrees each. So when it's right at the end of a sign, then it becomes what's known as a critical degree. The 29th degree in astrology is called the anaretic degree. And what I find with that in the studies I've been doing, that you may have planets that are at 29 degrees, or you may be born on 29 degrees, it's very significant. Because it usually means there's either too much of or too little of. It's never quite the right balance, because you are either dying to get to the next sign, and you've got a lot of characteristics of that, or you're sitting here, but it's never quite comfortable. There's never a kind of a feeling of a comfort zone because you're at the late degree of a sign. So it does make a difference. And so what happens when we get transits, sorry, I'm getting a little complicated here, I know, Caroline, but I think you'll pick it as, you're doing really well, you beginners, I must say. What happens is that this triggers particular events in your chart, and these very often are financial events. Capricorn often to do with real estate and to do with buildings and land. So this can often mean a change in your structure of where you live, or it could mean that you build a property empire. It depends how you actually use this either within the natal chart or within a progression, but it usually triggers something. Does that answer your question, Caroline? Thank you. Any other questions?
So if you were like early on in like at 2 degrees, or
yes,
would they have the same effect?
It will be a different kind of effect. Usually when it's right a late degree, there's this feeling that things are either not moving fast enough or that they are moving just too fast and they're out of control. There's this feeling of like, and I think Wendy's laughing over there, so something must be resonating there, because you are on the cusp. You are probably 29 degrees, 28, 29, which will make the difference. So in the early degrees, yes, there's a remnant of the old energy, but you are really firmly in that sign. So it makes a difference. It's usually more comfortable. You don't usually feel as though you're missing out on something. There's a tendency with a 29 degree, depending whether it's the Sun or Venus. Venus, if it's Venus at 29 degrees, anybody got Venus at 29 degrees? There's always this feeling as though I'm kind of missing out on love. I'm missing out on the kind of love I want, or it's not quite right, or there's always this kind of an adjustment. No? Anybody got 29? I will be covering 29. Huh? Yeah, well, that's pretty close. Yeah. So there's this indecisiveness about what it is you want and what you're getting, and it's not quite right. And it's either too much or too little, but it's never quite the balance. Does that make sense? That's very much what these 28, 29 degree planets are all about. They are very little studied and little understood in astrology, and I think we need to do a whole lot more research on them, which is what I'm doing with you guys, because they are very significant. People say, oh, well, I'm on the cusp, and nobody knows what that's about, really. But they do actually signify something, and it depends on the planet and where it is in your life as to how it's going to affect you in your life.
What if you had